Who's ready to get back to basics? I know I am. Today's fun-filled lesson is going to be on reflections. When I look in the mirror, what I see in return is a reflection of myself. If I raise my left hand in the mirror, it appears that my right hand is being raised in return, even though I know it's my left hand being raised. Everything's all backwardsy. If I were to wear a cool t-shirt that said, cats are the best, it would, in the mirror, look like best the are cats. Anyway, what I have to do is I have to look at these guys right here and determine if I have a reflection, yes or no. And where am I starting? I'm going to, okay, so I am the red figure looking into this mirror. So if my face is nice and flat, which it is, okay, if my face is nice and flat, what I should see on the other side of the mirror is a flat, and I don't see it. This is not a reflection because it's just a translation. It looks like all I did was take my shape and move it down. Similarly, if this is what I'm looking at, and if I'm wearing a nice paper hat, and this is my face, so let me draw a head. Those are my eyes, and that's me smiling. If I'm looking at the mirror, I'm not going to be looking at the back of my head. That's wacky pants. Get rid of it. So this is a no or a not. This is a yes, because literally what I see is a flipped version of the same exact figure on the other side of the line. The line's not necessarily, straight left or right or up or down. It's a diagonal line, but who cares? I mean, if I were to hold a mirror sideways, it's going to look all weird and crazy. That's a reflection, kids. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shape right there and reflect it over the x-axis, or reflect it in the x-axis. What does that mean? That means x here is my mirror. So I'm going to draw a really perfectly straight, non-crooked, non-sketchy looking line where my x-axis is. So it's as if I'm jumping into a mirror, and when I look down, I see my reflection staring up at me. What will that look like? Well, what that will look like is however far I am above the water, I'm looking down at myself that far deep into the water. So this is how I reflect. I go 1 point at a time. Okay, and let's start with A because it's the first in the alphabet. A appears to be 1, 2, 3 spaces away from my mirror. So its opposite is going to be 1, 2, 3 spaces away into the mirror. And I'm going to call it A prime because it's, my image. I'm going to do the same thing with D. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5 blocks rather. I'm sorry, 5 blocks away from the mirror. So if I go to the mirror and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's where D prime is going to be, right there, a perfect circle. M is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, completely on the edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, M prime. And then W is 1, 2, 3, 4 away from the mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call it W. Let's connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. And if I was an actual artist, you would be able to see that my kite-looking thing that's flying above this red line is up here, and now it's flipped upside down. Didn't get bigger, didn't get smaller. Let's actually label those new points that I had. There's A prime. Let's label them. I didn't have to, but you know what? I like having a good time. If I were to start at my origin and count to A prime, I'd go right 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3. So right 4, down 3. Let's do D prime. If I were to start at the origin, the way I get to D prime is right 1, which is positive 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5. If you look at the original D, the original is 1, positive 5, but the new one is 1, negative 5. So it looks like when I flip it over the x-axis, the x stays the same, but the y value becomes its opposite. Interesting. What's next? How about M? M appears to be left 1, which is negative 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Makes sense. And then W prime appears to be left 1, so negative 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. I reflected over the x-axis that kept the x points the same and turned the y into its opposite. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's do it again, over the x-axis again. And in this case, it's weird because my mirror here, and I'm going to use a red line again, my mirror is actually cutting my shape in half. So how am I going to do this? Well, let's start with L. L lives above the red line. So its reflection is going to be below the red line, and L is 1, 2 away, so L prime is going to be 1, 2 below. G is 1, 2, 3, 4 above the red line, so G prime is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 below the red line. And this is where it's weird. Q is 1 below the red line, so Q prime is going to be 1 above the red line. And when I connect my dots, that's what I have. I remember when I was in art school and the art teacher didn't have anything to do, the art teacher would be like, get a white piece of paper and then put paint on this side of the paper and then smush it and make yourself a little butterfly. Well, that's what this is. If I were to turn my thing sideways here, let me turn it sideways. Ugh, I can see a butterfly. Can you? Oh no, I have to do 2 things. That's ridiculous. Translate means to move. So when it says translate the triangle 1 unit right and 5 units down, it's no big deal. So I'm going to take T and move it 1 right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down and call it T prime. Now I have R. I'm going to move that 1 right and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's R prime. And now I have S. I'm going to move that 1 right and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's S prime. If I could actually draw on a computer with this little thing that's supposed to be a pen, you would see that my shape didn't change size. It didn't rotate. It didn't reflect. All it did was move. Well, that makes sense because all I did was translate so far. Now what I have to do is reflect it in the y-axis, which means now y is my mirror. And so this shape is going to start out over here and then flip over here and be a mirror image. So let's make that green. If I'm looking at my blue shape, which is my next shape, T prime is on the left side, 1 unit away. So count 1 and then count 1 and T, that's right, double prime is going to be on the right side. It's as if I'm on the left side of a mirror looking into the right side of myself. Ooh, how philosophical of me. R is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3 units away. So R prime is going to be 1, 2, 3 units away, and that would be R double prime, not R regular prime, like I think I said. And if I look at S prime is 3 units on the left side of the red line. So 1, 2, 3 units on the right side is going to be my S double prime. And just for fun, since I didn't do it in the last one, if I were to label these points, S double prime has me going to the right 3 spaces and not going up or down. So S double prime is 3, 0. R double prime has me counting to the right 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4. So right 3 is 3 and down 4 is negative 4. And T double prime has me going right 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So right 1 is 1 and down 4 is negative 4. There you have it. Reflections. All it is you're just taking a shape and making a mirror image wherever it tells you to. Okay? Bye!